So I want to welcome you guys to Cook with Brooks. Man, thanks for being with us. We are going to show you some cool stuff. Man, we're in a beautiful location, the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Man, Chef Will Lyle and Case Dighero are going to sit down with us. We're going to do a cool dish with Chef, sit down and eat and talk with Case. Case coined the phrase High South Cuisine. We're going to find out exactly what that means from him. So you guys, come on, let's go. This is a story about food. The farmers who grow it, the homegrown recipes, the traditions, the celebrations, the way we love it, the way we bring them all together. That's how we cook this. In Northwest Arkansas, we have a beautiful museum of art. Crystal Bridges, great place for families, beautiful dining, just a great grounds. You find art inside, outside, and man, these guys are relating the art to food. It's really a beautiful movement. Chef, how you doing, brother?
Good, Chef. Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too.
Appreciate you having us in the 11 kitchen here at Crystal Bridges.
Yeah, no
it's
problem.
a nice spot, man.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it going on in here.
I like it.
That's good.
My name is William Lyle. I'm the executive chef here at 11 Restaurant at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. An important part of my job here at Crystal Bridges is to pair the food with the art itself, not just wine anymore. Every month I have a tasting menu based around a temporary exhibition or something that's new to our permanent collection.
What are you going to make for me today, man?
Well, what we're doing is we're going to use a nice local chicken breast. We're going to do a dish with fresh herbs, fresh vegetables. It's a nice winter dish. It's simple. It's a one-pan dish, easy for cooking for yourself or one other person. It could also easily be cooked for the whole family or an entire dining room.
Okay, good. Show me what you got.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Crystal Lake chicken from Decatur, Arkansas.
Okay.
And we're going to render down the fat in the chicken skin to get it nice and crispy.
Okay.
So we're going to put a little bit of fat down in the pan to keep the skin from sticking. But we're definitely going to want to just slowly use the fat of the chicken skin to render it down.
Okay. So you start with a little bit of bacon fat.
I'm going to use a little bit of bacon fat because I think this dish does it's almost like a coq au vin, but it's a quick version of that. So that's how we're going to get the bacon flavor in there.
Okay.
Just a tiny little bit of bacon fat.
Yeah, just to get it going.
And that's just to keep it from sticking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to get my hands in over here.
That's fine. Okay. Don't burn yourself.
I'll try not to burn myself.
So these beautiful breasts from Crystal Lake Farms. What we've done here is we've done the airline cut, where we cut down around the breast, kept the skin and the winglet on.
Yes.
I love that little bit of dark meat flavor around that.
First joint is great. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're definitely going to want to let that warm up a little bit. Never put anything into a cold oil, cold fat of any sort.
Smoking hot skillet is what we want for sure.
I like to start it super hot and then turn it down a little bit so it slowly renders the fat out.
Control, man. You know what I mean? Control. A great opportunity here to get to show off your talents at the museum, man.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, it's a lot different from what I'm used to. We've always, you know, as chefs, we always pair food with wine. Yeah. And now I'm pairing food with wine and equally art.
Yeah, yeah, it's so great.
We got a little smoke going there.
You're so lucky.
We'll drop that breast in there.
Because getting to pair with the art, man, is something that I would love an opportunity to try.
Yeah, and just to be surrounded by this type of art.
Love an opportunity to try.
You know, a lot of restaurants are surrounded by beautiful gardens, and we might be in a nice downtown area. We can kind of take a break, step outside, relax. I can step into my galleries, and there's inspiration all around.
Yeah, and world-class art, too,
world-class art.
Really, really good. And, you know, the Crystal Lake chicken is something I use a lot at home. I won't feed my family anything else because it's a local product that I've been out to the farm and seen the birds. I know the birds on an intimate level, and it's really good. The animal welfare, the way they're raised, is really
antibiotic free.
Yes,
You know, all vegan feed. They don't use any animal byproducts, so we know you're not getting any hormones.
And very few birds live in the house too. That's what I
they spend
really
time
love.
in the pasture, drink fresh water,
walk around.
For what it is, it's very well priced. I mean, in the grocery stores.
I agree. I agree.
So we're gonna get that going, and then I'm gonna slip a little bit of butter.
Okay. Nice and
on the
smoky.
side there. I want to get my potatoes, Brussels sprouts in there.
Okay. Right along with the raw chicken.
Right next to it. It's all going to cook down together.
Okay.
One pan dish.
Yeah. And those sprouts, so you already steamed those? Those already, you got a little steam on them?
You know, I popped those in some boiling water earlier, along with the potatoes, just to get a little softness to them.
Yeah.
I wanted to speed this dish up a little bit.
Absolutely.
You can totally all be cooked. I got these little tasty sweet potatoes, smaller Brussels sprouts, and small pearl onions.
Yeah.
So that way it'll all cook together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, in about 20 minutes in the oven, after we sear this all up with the top on it, it should cook from raw to a nice cooked finished product. It's really beautiful. I mean, look at the colors in there.
I mean, awesome, man. And it's all consistent. It's all the size is really nice. I like that. It's going to be beautiful on the plate.
And the thing with this dish is you don't have to use these ingredients. You can use the kitchen sink. You can open up the refrigerator and just use the veggies that you have going in there. I mean, bok choy, spinach, whatever you have in there. Just depends what time you want to put it into the pan itself. So I'll throw a couple carrots in right about now. Just nice baby carrots.
People ask all the time if they could substitute one ingredient for another, and I tell them, man, food is subjective. It's yours. You would do this differently than me, and we'd probably get a similar, tasty, beautiful product, but just a little different, you know?
And you know, we plan things out in the kitchen a lot, you know, from where we get the food to getting it in, to prepping, but when you're at home, empty out the fridge.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to follow the recipe.
Yes. Make your family as big a guinea pig as you want them to be. You know what I mean? My son loves being the guinea pig.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to pull off a couple sprigs of fresh thyme, just throw it on there.
Okay.
And this should all sear up really well together. Right as the chicken skin starts to render down, the vegetables have a nice brown hint to them. The Brussels sprouts will be crispy. Starting to get her there now.
Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. And so you just leave that chicken on the skin side until it really gets a good, you're trying to get some of that fat out.
We're getting there pretty close,
yeah. Great.
So everything's coming along pretty quickly. So, like I said, it's a quick dish to start, real easy, and then you just pop it in the oven, and that's all the time. In about 20 minutes in the oven, we'll be done.
With a cover on it or no?
Yeah, I put the cover on there, yep.
All right, awesome.
So right as everything's starting to crisp up, I want to put my garlic in at the last minute. We don't want to burn that, put it in too early. We just want to get a little bit of a nice nutty brown look to it.
Yeah, I've bittered up some dishes before, I'll tell you that, with that garlic.
There's a time and a place for undercooked garlic.
Yes.
But not in this dish.
Listen to that crackle.
Oh yeah, just so that thyme right on there.
That thyme just really, it shows up at your nose really quickly, you know what I mean?
That's why I don't like to chop it up or anything. We'll just put it in there whole, and at the end of the dish, we'll pull it right back out again.
Works
just infuse the chicken stock that we're gonna put in there here in a minute. So like I said, this dish does resemble the coq au vin quite a bit. We have the vegetables, the wine, the bacon fat, and the chicken. Difference is I'm gonna use a white wine for this dish, and a lot of it. And then also you could throw mushrooms in here, like a traditional coq au vin dish. I haven't used those today, but like I said, you can throw anything in here. Garlic's browning up, everything looks about ready.
Add
Hit
the wine,
this, deglaze with the wine, get all the good little crispiness off the bottom.
Off the bottom of the pan.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna reduce the wine down just enough to get the alcohol out, and probably reduce it by about half.
Okay.
And we'll add a little chicken stock, a little seasoning, and get it in the oven.
So the technique of starting the dish with some bacon fat, we're making a chicken dish. It has the skin on it, but the technique of using the bacon fat, it kind of begins the coq au vin for us. Just a nice sear with the bacon fat, and we're Southern boys. Well, Bill's from the north, but here in the High South, we like to use butter. He threw in some butter, really nice saute of the vegetables, the potatoes, real good, real nice dish. You get that chicken nice and crispy, and it's beautiful. That reduction's gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be very saucy.
Get that thyme in there, let the thyme and the wine and the garlic and that little bit of bacon fat all kind of just slowly cook down together.
Yeah, lots of good flavors going on in this dish.
We're not gonna put any thickeners, no cream, no flour. It'll reduce down and be a nice hearty broth by itself.
Doesn't need it at all.
So very healthy.
Will you season the broth here again, or?
Yes, I put a little bit of seasoning on the chicken skin before I put it down.
Right.
But I like to kind of get everything together, get the broth in there, cook it down a little bit, and then get the salt and pepper in there. Just a good way to judge how much you want to use. Yeah. Especially when you're reducing something down.
Yeah. And you don't get the opportunity to oversee it. You get the flavor and taste it and see what you're looking for.
And especially since it's going in the oven for so long, we'll just lightly season it to start. We'll pull it out, and before we serve the dish, we'll taste it and we'll adjust from there.
I love it.
I bet we can get pretty close now.
Awesome.
Now we have a chicken stock here that we just use the carcasses from the birds that we clean. We roast down the bones, add them with some whatever vegetables you have in the fridge, usually some onions, celery, and carrots. Try to stay away from the red onions. And definitely none of the starchier vegetables. We don't use potatoes or anything in our stock. And then we just cook those roasted bones with the vegetables for about 2 or 3 hours. That's all you really need with chicken stock. It's not like a demi where you need to go for a day or two.
It's got a real good color to it too. Really nice color on that.
So we don't want to overdo it. So we want it to be just enough for this one dish.
And that's about half. We reduced the wine by about half.
Yep.
And we're going to do the same thing with the stock.
I'd say I put about 4 more ounces of chicken stock in there. Okay. So about 4 ounces of wine, reduce it down by half those 4 ounces of chicken stock, and that'll be enough to cook it down and still retain some of the broth for you.
Okay, we'll cover and put this in the oven once we reduce it?
Yep, all I'm doing is getting that back up to a little bit of a boil, and we're just about ready. So I just like taking the equal-sized pan, popping that on top.
Awesome.
Just like that. And popping it down in the oven there, about anywhere from 325 to 375, depending on how quick you want your food. I'm at 350 right now, so I'd say about 15 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
So by purchasing locally and staying within the region, I get to meet my farmers. I buy from them directly. I can visit their farms. I know exactly what I'm buying for my restaurant, what I'm putting into each dish that I serve my customers. I find my job as a chef very rewarding. I get to see the process from the very beginning to the very end, from sourcing and creating my menus, costing them out, prepping them, research and developing, and then actually receiving the products into the kitchen, putting them together, and firing them at the end of the night for a full dining room, and then being able to go out and actually speak to the customer and see the reaction. That's why I consider this one of the most rewarding professions I could be in.
Let's go.
All right. There we go.
And that looks great.
Yep. So we've got about 15 minutes in the oven, almost 20.
Okay.
Like I said, we're gonna just check it and use a little bit more seasoning. Just a little pinch. Sit around in there. I want to pull the chicken breast out. Just kind of pour that nice broth in there.
Okay. Super
Put the chicken right on top of that.
Look at you.
Just gonna bring everything back in around that.
That is awesome. Simple.
There we go.
So you don't really go for a dish like this. You want it to look like the stew, not the artistic, just the frou-frou. Really,
this isn't one that we're gonna sit down with tweezers and really set up. This is just a nice winter dish. This is exactly how I serve it in my dining room too.
Beautiful.
Nice and rustic.
Beautiful.
Someone else at the table might get a beautifully composed salad that we put a lot of time into, but that's not the idea behind this dish.
That is beautiful. What are we gonna do with those tops there?
Right here we have some pea shoots from a local greenhouse called Wheatgrass Express.
Wheatgrass.
And I'm just gonna chop a little bit of these on here, and it gives us that really fresh flavor of peas without cooking them into the dish. And for this time of year, I think this adds a nice little bit of a fresh taste to it.
That is beautiful, man. That is dynamite. Chef, thank you so much for letting us come into your kitchen. Make a great dish, man. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thanks. No
Good
problem.
man.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Awesome.
Where are the spoons?
You can find this recipe and all of our recipe on our blog at cookwithbrooks.com. Actually, Brooks and I first met about 18 years ago, maybe 16 years ago. We were actually working for Market Foods in Rogers, Arkansas. It was a specialty food store. I'd been hired as the catering director, and he was the sous chef, and so we came together and immediately became good friends, getting into trouble, stuff happened, and then we did a little TV show at the Jones Network for several years, did some stuff on Fox, and then we we probably did the best and worst thing that the two of us could do. We opened a restaurant together. What is going on? It's
There
like
he
Bizarro world. Stephen Brooks, what are you doing?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? I'm good.
Oh, my God, give me some sugar. Get in here for the real thing.
I've been hanging out with Bill over there in the kitchen.
You've been hanging out
He's
with
been
him. Look at
cooking. He made a dish for me.
He's cooking. That's what he does. He's the chef. But I look at you and I'm like, I can't grow. I'm still like this.
You're
I'm
still
up to your
short.
belly. It's horrible. I'm so glad you're here.
Good to see you, man.
Well, I was hoping that we could sit down and talk a little bit. You have time?
Absolutely. We're going to eat that dish he made.
And are we going to cook with Brooks, or are we just going to eat with Brooks?
You're eating with me, man.
Okay, we're going to eat.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here, man.
Yeah,
Welcome
good
to
see
Crystal
you.
Bridges.
Thank you. You got wine?
I got wine.
Let's get in
I
here.
got it in every way that you want it. The WI kind and the WHI kind.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks, Case Dighero, for sitting down with me.
Brooks.
Chef made us a really good chicken, man. Beautiful.
I just want to take a moment and just kind of get it all over me.
Yeah, man. Stand in it. You know
I'm
what
gonna
I
get
mean?
just like a little tiny bit, like right on my finger, and just go like that.
I love it. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for being here at Crystal Bridges.
It's beautiful here at the museum, the art and the food and the whole movement, dude.
It is.
You have done a great job with it, and so I want to talk to you a little bit about it. Well, and we can eat this great dish, so don't ignore.
I hope
this
that I
great
can.
dish.
I think the idea here is that at one time while we're having this conversation, one of us has their mouth full of food.
Is that good?
So if I'm talking, you eat. If you're talking, I'll eat.
That sounds great.
Okay.
That sounds really
and
good.
if I have a little something on my face, you tell me.
I'm
and
not going to tell you at all.
I know you're not. Yes, so I am. What an exciting time to be in this part of the country when it comes to food, really, and specifically even Bentonville. You know that you and I have a history together from Rogers all the way to Fayetteville, and being a part of the movement of cuisine that's happened in Northwest Arkansas. And I can tell you, of all the things that I've been a part of as a restaurateur, as a chef, as a food writer, of all those things, that the synergy and everything that's happening right now in Bentonville, Arkansas, has by far been the most exciting thing that I've been a part of in my 20 years of being in the business. Yeah,
and you know, I've been here coming up on 16 years, and you know, we met the very first day I moved here.
You came here, I remember, because you were 12 and I was 9, because you were several years older than me. And you're like, we're gonna get a job at the market. And, but no, it was Market Foods. That's where the market at Pinnacle Point is where you and I sort of met.
Gourmet grocery, yes.
It was so far ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
So far, in fact, that it failed. But you know, I think now, if it was in existing today with everything that's happening right now, you and I would probably.
It would be huge.
We'd be retired.
But you know, the thing is, and we'll talk about High South in just a minute.
Yes.
I want to ask you though about the movement. I mean, 15 years I've known you.
Yeah.
You've been working towards this that whole time. I mean, I look back and think about some of the things that we talked about as far as food and the freshness and just some of the things, you know, James Beard and,
yes.
and all the whole, you know, we worked with some great folks and got to do some cool stuff. So tell me about why you ended up in this situation and doing what you're doing now.
Well, it's really about, you know that I love to tell a story. Sometimes it's not completely honest, but I do like to tell a story.
No.
And I'm a storyteller, and so I like to tell stories through whatever means necessary, whether if I'm you know, blogging, or whether I'm writing an article for Cityscapes magazine, or if I'm, you know, cooking or making a cocktail or whatever it may be. I want to tell a story. It's really about an edible narrative.
Absolutely.
And so you and I, since we've known each other, that's what it's been about. It's about creating some sort of a story that people can connect to and understand. And
edible culture.
It's edible culture.
I remember.
That's right.
I remember edible culture.
Edible culture is a big one. And so what happens, and what's happened with this movement within Northwest Arkansas, specifically Bentonville, when the museum opened, we needed a way to sort of define our food, and we knew that we wanted to tell a story about food that comes and hails from the Ozarks. And what I thought the best thing that we could do is say, okay, we are part of the High South and we're part of the Low Midwest. So for a long time, for about 6 months before we actually opened the museum, I was sort of coining our way of cooking and our preparation as High South, Low Midwest. People are like, Low Midwest?
And it's
what the hell?
too long for a hashtag.
It is too long. So man, I cut that thing off and we just started calling our cuisine High South. And what happened subsequently is around town, you have other chefs that were moving in. You have Matt McClure from the Hive 21C. You have Rob Nelson, who you and I have known for a long time, an Arkansas boy. Matt's an Arkansas boy. You have people like Luke Wetzel that come into town. So what was happening is we were creating, these guys were cooking what we call High South, not because it was High South, but because this is what they knew. And so it just kind of fell underneath that umbrella that we had coined here at the restaurant at 11 at Crystal Bridges. And so it was easy for people just to sort of adopt that idea. So that's really what it is. I mean, I think back to my childhood and my hillbilly Italian grandmother in Lamar, Missouri, a small town just 2 hours north of here. I consider
loved
that.
Your granny.
That's right.
She was a great lady.
She was a wonderful woman. And I think about how 95% of what she prepared came out of a cast iron skillet. The smell of fried bacon, eggs, toast, pickled jalapenos,
and
pickled
she had
beets.
stuff jarred in her kitchen.
All the time.
What I mean?
I will tell you, man, there are things in my refrigerator now at my home in Fayetteville that she jarred over 15 years ago that I eat this week. This week I prepared, what did I make? My daughter and I made together, Georgie and I made a soup, a really great chicken soup. And as an accoutrement on the table, it was a jar of my Granny Digherios pickled jalapeno peppers. So that's the kind of stuff that when I think about my childhood and my upbringing on both sides of my family, whether it be the hillbilly Italian side or just the hillbilly side, that's the sort of stuff that, you know, that we ate. Things that came from the garden. Both sides of my family always had a big garden. They both had farms. They were the proletariat of the Midwest. There was cattle, there was wheat, there was all the stuff that was happening. And so we were actually growing food and eating it, and it was farm to table, you know, I mean, generations before you and me. But definitely whenever I was a child, when I was a kid, that was part of what we did.
So what you're doing is bringing back a part of your past and your heritage and what your family has done. And that's what I see the movement as being so much, not so much about, you know, us at all. It's really about bringing back those folks and the things that hard work, that, you know, where food came from their backs and their, you know, the dirt on their hands and the hard work. The best thing, I've had some great jobs. You and I worked together. I've had some great jobs. I love my job right now. But one of the best jobs I had was when I was at the Blessings and had my own garden. And was growing my own food there for the club. But dude, so much fun and so alive. It was great.
So the idea behind High South really comes from this idea of a food movement that started generations before us today in the Ozarks. So it's procuring this idea of pickling, using animals that are harvested from here in a way of actually preparing them. So when we opened the restaurant at Crystal Bridges 11 5 years ago, we needed a way to describe our cuisine, and the best thing that I could do to think of was High South, Low Midwest. Low Midwest is not very sexy, so we dropped that and it became High South, and then subsequently we've had this great food movement that's happened not just in Bentonville but throughout Northwest Arkansas that has been characterized as High South.
Man, it's really good.
Yes.
Let's eat.
I'm so hungry.
I've been drinking while you've been talking.
You've been drinking?
I didn't keep my mouth full though, so I'm sorry.
No, because I've been doing all the talking. I gotta get into this.
That's okay, man. There's a lot to cover. So I want to try Chef's chicken.
Let's get in here.
It's killing me over here.
It's again one of those things. You start thinking about what this is, and a traditional coq au vin, we know is chicken that has been cooked. It's traditional French cooking that's been cooked in wine, and it falls apart. This is very similar, except that what you're seeing here are some pea shoots, some fresh thyme, some root vegetables. These are all things that you would see, that would be in your grandmother's root, cellar in Northwest Arkansas.
Beautiful baby carrots. I mean, just really good, really well done. Local shoot. I mean, this is local, so. Yeah. Appreciate you, man, so much having us in today, brother.
Thank you.
You are the man, and
come back to Crystal Bridges anytime.
So proud to have you leading the movement. Appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure. Thanks, Brooks.
You guys, food is all about love and family and friends, and you just have to share a nice meal with someone you care about. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for being with us. Cook with Brooks. Man, that's how you cook this.
Find us and follow us at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and cookwithbrooks.com.